Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a post-game Phillies Game 2 versus the Braves edition of 4th and Go Wednesday night, October 12th. And here we are. I'm Dave Gleckner. That's Mark Thomasini. Wish I could say it was winning Wednesday. It still is because we got to get in the vibe of Philly sports right now, which is all positive. But we are coming off a 3-0 loss to the Braves. Series headed home on Friday, and I'm sure we'll get to all that and more. But let me bring in Mark T. What's up, brother?
What up? It's you could call it a winning week leading up to this Wednesday. A lot of good things happened since the last time we saw you because we were both out of state last week. So we have a lot to catch up on, but tonight was tough. And I'm rather disappointed, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, I mean, here we are. We'll start with the Phillies, both rocking the Phillies gear tonight. And tonight, we can go over that real fast. It's tough because Wheeler pitched so well for 5 2/3. And I get that, the hit batter, the walk. But the flat out key to this game was Rhys Hoskins can't field a ground ball. And we knew he couldn't. He's very bad at it on the regular. He's not a good fielder. And right now he's not a good hitter either. But for him to open the floodgates up, it hurts. It hurts because that's a ground ball that probably 80 to 90% of the first basemen in the majors make. I coached about 3 different baseball teams in the Little League, and I'd even say 80% of my first basemen make. So that's what probably stings the most tonight is that he ruined a gem by Wheeler.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he absolutely ruined it. And then he comes up in the ninth, gets to a 1-0 count and swings it just absolute garbage and rolls one over. Can't even go up there and kind of atone for his mistake. So that stinks. That just stinks that it ended that way because of how well Wheeler was throwing.
Well, it's that play on top of everything, obviously, but there was an at bat. I think it was his second at bat. He didn't swing the bat once, and they were all hittable pitches. And he went down looking. And
that's he batting number 2. Why? Like we've said it for weeks. Why the hell is he batting number 2?
See, they're so afraid to go away from what they've done. Obviously, it worked, but you got Schwarber and Hoskins up there, a combined 0 for everything. You're not getting
Hoskins has one hit. He blew the double.
He did that double yesterday.
Yeah, that's it though. But, yeah,
I'm just saying he's 2 for his last 37, I think, or last 38, something like that. I mean, it's miserable. And this guy is batting in the 2 spot. On any other team, this is not a thing. It's not happening. And he's a defensive liability. And it reared its head tonight. I do think I'll tell you the moment that I know Wheeler was just running that pitch in on him, but the moment when that hit him, I didn't feel good about it. I will say that once that ball hit his elbow, I knew that it was about to break. The levee was about to break, and it did.
Yeah.
But that Rhys play, I mean, he was like kind of going away from it, even though he needed to be going towards it. It was very awkward, and it's typical of him. It's not. I'm not shocked seeing that he messed it up, but this game is a totally different story. If that doesn't
We're still playing. We're still playing.
Yeah.
No, 2 for 38. You know what he's taught me is that these moments are too big for him.
Mm-hmm.
Way too big.
He's never been a clutch guy. He's never been a clutch guy.
This is not the time for him. It's sad. I feel we felt that way a little bit with Castellanos, but then he came up huge in game 1. And you always need a hero, and I'm hoping to see one come back in game 3, but it's not going to be Rhys. It's just not like this is way too much for him, and it's not like you said 2 for 38 goes back to every clutch game that was in September too.
Yeah,
too much. It's just too much for him.
You can't do it. I mean, look, if it were me, I know they're not going to do this. Well, I know they're not going to do any of the things I want them to do, but like move him down the lineup. Like I understand that but when it's both Schwarber and Hoskins who are both not producing, you need to change things up. I know it's the playoffs. I know you don't want to get people out of their rhythm, but you need to do something to get a spark. They're not going to do it. But another thing I would be.
And what would you do? No, I mean, you can't just sit here and say you got to move.
No, I totally understand that. If you want, switch Schwarber to second, bring up somebody like Gene and have him lead off. I know it's not your best results, but I mean, they're literally doing nothing for you. Nothing. Neither one of them. So what can be worse than what they're doing? Nothing. I think it's a spark. I mean, look, Gene's been hitting the ball well. He's been making things happen. I think he can do that any part of the lineup. If you don't want to change the continuity too much. And I would love to have Schwarber at 5, but and then push Castellanos to 6, but that's not going to happen. But I just think that they're in such a rut. And I think that, I wouldn't blame Thompson if he stays the same because he doesn't want to mess anything up. But also, depending on what happens Friday, you might have to look to that. You might have to get desperate if Friday doesn't go, the way we want to. I hope they're thinking of other routes. It's just tough. You can't sustain like this. We got lucky the past couple of days, but I think we batted well for the most part. But 1 and 2 are not doing it.
No, I get that, but the attitude that we have to change things because of one loss in the playoffs is not where I'm going to be able to sit.
It's not one loss though. It is the whole playoffs.
I
mean, that's 3 games, and neither of them have really done anything.
No, I get that.
And they haven't done much in a while.
Schwarber gets 46 homers from the one spot.
I know.
And batted there every single game, 162. I can get with you with Hoskins. I don't think he should have been there since July.
Right.
Quite frankly, maybe even all season, but I got why they had to do it at times with Harper getting hurt. He stinks. He does nothing to help you from in the 2-hole. Absolutely nada. At least Schwarber is a threat. You do have to respect his power. So you also got to give him some pitches to look at because you don't want to, sit there and put the guy on and then open up, the potential behind him. So I still like Schwarber there. He just looks lost. We got fix that. I don't think he can fix Hoskins. I've been a proponent of bringing Baum up to 2. But I could listen to Gene. Yeah. I could listen. I could get there with Gene. He's 4 for 12 in the playoffs so far. I just think the lineup's flawed, and we've known that all year, but it's been good enough to get us to where we're at. I would do a small tweak. I would. And they did one tonight. Don't forget. They brought Stott in. I thought
it's that front of the lineup that they're afraid to touch. They're afraid to mess with all of these guys. I feel like it's a thing that they're afraid to mess continuity, but right now the continuity is not there.
Yeah, and I agree. To an extent, I feel like you should bench Hoskins. But I'll just give you this point.
They would never.
I wouldn't do it in game 3.
I know.
If for some reason, we turn around, we have a really bad game 3, and we're on the ropes, I would bench him.
4 strikeouts.
Yeah. I would bench him for game 4. Absolutely.
I just still don't think they would ever do it, even if that scenario barring. I think that's a good idea right there. If he has a really bad game 3 and they don't, you have to get desperate. I agree, but I just don't think. I think he's one of their glue guys. He's been there. I don't think they would ever do that. It would be a Zach Ertz type of thing. He'd be crying if he didn't. And I think it would be a bad look, not for us. I'm saying he would, it would.
We're losing Wentz. When we benched Wentz, it was over for Wentz. It was over.
And I think it would be.
It is.
I know he's a team guy and everything like that, but I just feel like he's one of those guys.
Yeah, I had somebody text me during the game. Shout out to Dan Green, talking about putting Hall in there, and it's an interesting point. And I listen. Here's the problem with Hall. You got Schwarber, Hoskins, Hall. You could be going with Stott in a game like that, and Marsh. You could have 5 lefties in a lineup. Kind of gets easy for the Braves to navigate if they decide to go play bullpen game, which is possible. They haven't named the game 3 starter yet.
But then you throw Veerling in there instead of Marsh. You bring it down to 4.
No. What I'm saying is they're going to throw a righty to start to know you're going to throw those 5 lefties out.
Yep.
They go to a lefty in the second or third, and now you're all screwed up. Yep. And then are you wasting a bench player in the second or third? No. So it just gets a little tricky for me. I'm not ready to give Hall a starting spot in game 3 of the biggest series of the year. But I would be interested in maybe I mean, Baum played a little first early in the season, didn't he? And you could put Sosa over at
First
third.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
could
changed
be
things.
interested in that.
Oh, I could be very interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a spark guy. He is a spark guy. He
He
comes in,
is.
gives you energy, and he's a good fielder. He's a decent hitter.
Yeah. No, I agree. But let's not take it all on Reese. I got to tell you, my biggest play of the game, and it was simple, but it was early. Inning 2, we get Bryce the third with 1 out.
Yeah.
And, I thought it was a decent piece of hitting by Baum to poke on the first. Bryce breaks on it and freezes. And I get it, but for all the times that you've been uber aggressive, and we know this is going to be a tough game to generate runs. I know it's hard and it's hindsight to look at. That's our only player that got past second base. I mean, that's when we got to get there, and I take the chance of him trying to score there.
I
and
guess.
trying to get a hit
I
with
thought he
Baum.
was dead in the outs. I thought he would have been out regardless.
I think if he jumped, he had a shot. Now, look, you still got to make the throw on the tag, right? That's what I always tell my kids when I'm coaching. Like, force them to make 2 plays. You have confidence that Brandon Marsh is going to get a base hit with 2 outs?
I mean,
I have
it's
zero confidence in that.
chances compared to 1.
What's
I
that?
get it. It was 2 chances compared to 1.
No, it wasn't. It was 2 outs after that. They only had Marsh.
No, after that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that's
because the
one-
sac fly moved them to third. So
right,
you had
that's 1 out.
right, and the ground ball is 2
And,
outs.
right. No. I'm saying.
There's no 2 chances.
So they were talking about on the broadcast, and they said his mindset was one of 2 things. Either he just straight goes on contact,
Yes.
or he waits or he says, I'm not going to fully give in there with another chance on another hit.
That's 1 chance.
But so Baum was the first chance. Marsh.
No, it's fielded. Like,
no, I know, but no, but saying like he has the mindset, either like he decided on contact, like he didn't have that like just hit and run mentality. That wasn't in his cards right there. So then they were hoping that something would happen with Marsh. He played it safe. He played it safe. I'm just saying, I think would have been.
He's never played it safe. He runs to third like he got thrown out second in the St. Louis series.
Right. But how many times did he get killed for going over?
I never kill somebody for being aggressive. And again, I know the reason I more think it happens is second inning. Like, I just think that's the mentality. Like, but
they have been pressing all the right buttons before that. It's just, I thought he was out regardless. I think it was hit too quick to Olsen. I think it would have been a bang bang play. He would have been out at home. But it's about getting the throw there. I know anything can happen in that scenario.
Yeah, and it is bang bang, and that's why I take a chance on banging. But it just goes against the Bryce Harper way, in my opinion. Now, for me, I just think he got a bad read. That's what I think it was. You got to know, you got to be halfway down the line and the guy's swinging and go. It's almost like a safety squeeze with Baum. Yeah. He doesn't swing and miss a lot. But hey, I mean, who knows? That was just, I thought, a critical play in the game.
I agree. You get a run there. You definitely put the pressure with the way that Wheeler was pitching at that point. I totally get it.
Yeah, we generated nothing after that. We had a C9 single from JT and a rope by Segura in the 8th that was the single, and that's it. That's it. And that's the Phillies offense that scares me. It's the one from game 1 of the St. Louis series, and it showed up again now. And it was there in the Chicago Cubs series at the end of the season as well. Well, it didn't matter in Houston after we won. But so when it shows, it gets a little ugly. We've hit 1 home run in the whole playoffs so far.
I know.
They're going to need more.
Yeah, they are. But I like the way that they were playing small ball, especially in game 1. I thought they were actually, like, it wasn't just happening by chance. They were methodical in the way that they were laying down bunts, moving guys. I was very happy about it.
No, I was too. So let's look at the whole thing in totality. We split in Atlanta. And, today we probably would have felt better if you had game 2, if you lost game 1, but won game 2, we'd be all excited like we were all today going into game 2. I still think if you can just take a step back, and no Philly Rob will, it'll just get them even keeled and say you did your job. Now that we got the 2 at home, and let's go. And we got our best pitcher. He's not great at home. I get it, but We're at Nola, and he is, a perennial. He won't win Cy Young, but he'll get votes. He'll be somewhere in the top 3 to 4. Had a fantastic season. It's on him, and he's looked great since it's been on him. Had that great St. Louis game, had that great Houston game. I'm ready to ball. I'm happy. Yeah. I'm happy at 1-1. I do not think we are the better team. I don't, but that doesn't mean we can't win. And I think there's a really good chance they win game 3 and just go crazy for game 4. Now, it'll be interesting what they would have to do for game 4 because, I mean, you use Syndergaard tonight. I think it's falter time. That's my feeling in game 4.
Game 4?
Yeah, it ain't Gibson. I'm telling you that much.
No.
I don't even know if he made the roster. I didn't look that close. God, I hope he didn't.
Yeah, I haven't even. I know you would think that they would have used Gibson in that scenario instead of Syndergaard if that were the case.
What tonight?
I think it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think Friday, obviously, one, the fact that we're home, the fact that we have Nola, but you have an interesting scenario with Atlanta. It's either Spencer Strider, who hasn't pitched in a while with that injury, or Charlie Morton, who's been getting beat up lately. So I definitely think you have a chance to take control on Friday, but we got to see what really it's going to be based on the offense. I really think that Nola has a chance to do his job. I think it's going to be in the offense's hands with Friday.
So
it's going to be rocking.
Yeah, it will be. Gibson did make it. Okay, that's fine. I don't care. And for all this talk, Hall didn't even make the team. So
no Hall, no Maton. I forget.
Couldn't have done it anyway. So, but game 3 is going to be rocking. It's going to be fun. It's going to be real. It's going to be awesome. I hate that it's 3:30. God, do I hate that it's 3:30. Can't I get one night game on a Friday night? Can't I? I mean, this is Philadelphia. I know we're up against the New Yorks and the LAs, and they're always going to get the preference. But, man, it's the World Series champions. The Braves, you can't give me one freaking night game?
Yeah.
Pisses me off. I'm telling you.
It does benefit. It does benefit us because the Braves are under 500 when it comes to day games and way over 500 when it comes to night games.
I get it, and we're 207 on Saturday.
Right.
Like it's like I don't know, but I'm pumped. This has been awesome. Just getting to this point. I don't want to say we're playing with house money because in baseball, teams that make it this far can win. I mean, again, they're going to be the underdog in every single game they play, no matter who's starting. Like it's just the way it's going to be. You get through this one, you're going to LA, underdog. You get through that, you're going to Houston or New York, underdog. So they're going to play this role really well. And that's what the 2017, I always call them 17 or 18 Eagles did. And I think they got a great chance if they can get game 3. So looking at game 3, Nola, and like I said, the Braves they're not announcing. I got to feel like it's Morton. I don't think Strider's ready if they didn't announce yet. What are you thinking?
No, I think that's got to be the same thing. I know they keep, looking at him on the bench and looking to see if they have something with him, but they don't know. The thing is, you're only getting a couple innings out of him if you do pitch him. You're not getting a full start. You're
talking about Strider?
For Strider.
Okay. Yep. I agree.
That's why I think you go Morton and just hope he can find his stuff if you're Atlanta. I think Strider out there, you're better off using him in a scenario where you need a couple innings out of him. I don't think it makes sense to throw him out there. Well, it's like an oblique injury, isn't it?
It is. It's
so that's they don't know what he can do. They don't know if he can locate. Like I know he's throwing some bullpen and stuff like that, but they literally have no capacity of what he can do in game scenario right now.
All right, give you the scenario. Phillies win game 3. Who's their game 4 starter? Phillies.
So let's see. Ranger pitched game 1. Wheeler. Nola. Do we? I guess you have to go falter and go bullpen.
I think it's falter, right? Don't like. So Ranger goes in Tuesday, right? He's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's 3 days of rest. I don't like it.
No, Ranger, and even like he threw a lot. He had a bunch of walks. Like he's not at that point where you can get him on 3 days rest. He's gonna get beat up.
Yep, and then. You look at it, you could have him for game 5 if you needed him, or you go Wheeler 3 days rest in game 5. But
Wheeler is a realistic opportunity in game 5. And then you bring in Ranger if you have to in that game if need be. But if it's a desperation.
I mean, Wheeler still only threw 79 pitches tonight, so it's not like he was over.
He didn't get torn apart. He had 60 pitches. He was at like 64 pitches, like at 5 1/3.
Yep.
So he was moving along nice. It was that 6th inning where he got
with 2 outs.
Yeah.
That one hurt. But all right, so I'm with you. So say the Phillies lose, is Falter still your starter in Game 4?
Wait, say that again.
Say the Phillies lose Game 3, is he still your starter in Game 4? So is it Falter no matter what?
I don't think you have any other options.
Well, you got Gibson.
No.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Honestly, you've shown Falter has had the pitch in tough games, odds against him, a lot of doubleheader games, like, and he's come up big. He's come up big in the fact that he's gotten you through. And you need, in the way that the bullpen pitched, say Nola, even if they lose, pitches 6-7 innings, you don't have to tire out your bullpen too bad. You can afford to pitch Falter for 4 or 5 innings and then go bullpen the rest of the way to hang on. And then if you bring in Wheeler for Game 5, if that were to be the scenario, you're, again, like you said, he threw 79 pitches. You're not asking him to throw 120 back to back. So I honestly think that you have to go Falter Game 4.
With you, and then let's just take a quick, a little scary. 2 games against this year. Full array. 81 innings pitched, 7 runs, 2 home runs, but K's. So, I don't know if you have another choice. I'm with you. I think it's Falter or go home. I don't think you're throwing Ranger on 3 days rest. Uh-oh.
Dave, are you there? I'm sorry.
We losing you? We're losing me. These Dodgers.
Let's see. I think we have a frozen screen here. I think we lost Dave for a second. Let's see if we can get back on. Talking about the scenario that we are at with, whatever scenario it is, Falter probably having to be the guy in Game 4, having Wheeler in Game 5 on 3 days rest. I'm disappointed about tonight. It was tough, but like Dave was saying earlier, we did what we had to do. We had to take one from the series, and we did 1 of 1. So I'm trying to get myself back in. I'm still a little stung by the loss. So we'll see what it takes. Offense has been up and down, obviously. We had the series as a whole, or the playoffs as a whole, but you had a comeback win on game 1 in St. Louis in the 9th. Had a big inning there. And then game 2, Nola pitched like an ace. You win 2-0, take care of business there. And then obviously the other day, 7-6. Braves came back. Phillies were up 7-1 most of that game. They got out to it early. We talked about how they were, putting people in the right positions. And then tonight, obviously, we have this game, which was just frustrating beyond all end. Like we said, the stadium is going to be rocking on Friday. I think they got to rock that momentum. You got Aaron Nola on the mound. And there's a lot to look forward to. Like I said, I'm just having a hard time getting over this. I think tonight was a frustrating game. I was watching post game before we came on the show, and Ben Davis said it was either Ben Davis or Ricky Batalco, and he was just like a wasted opportunity. I agree. It was a wasted outing by Wheeler because of what happened. Though I think that the pitch in on Acuna's elbow did hurt him and mess things up. It led to issues, but it really is unfortunate because you could have set yourself up. You go up 2-0, you're going home. You got Nola on the mound. You got a fired up stadium, and you just have Nola go out there and just do his thing and just pitch. Atlanta's gripping the bat tighter. Things are, they're trying to make things happen more and more than you are. And there's less pressure on you. But regardless, I think there's still pressure on Atlanta to do well. I got a text from Dave saying that he's coming back, just a little computer issue. So, it's a short series. 5 games makes it interesting because I'll be honest, I'm sweating a little bit now. Still glad that they won game 1, but there's a lot moving forward here. And, we were talking about it. I don't think there's any changes to the lineup. Everybody's going to stay where they are. Reese is going to stay in that 2-hole. I really don't think that they'll do everything to not change the lineup. So, we will see what it comes next for the Phillies, but Friday's going to be fun. Now, almost looking back on it, we probably wish that we had to play this game tomorrow because due to the rain, this game was supposed to be played at 4:30, but instead, here we are. They play a 7:30 game, but it did help though because regardless of what happened, win or lose, if Wheeler had to pitch tomorrow, he would not be ready for a game 5. So long-term being in this short series, this was beneficial that they did get this game in tonight. I really just wish they would have won. It's really unfortunate. But, I keep going back and forth about it. I just can't get over this loss. It's frustrating. Throwing my hat all over the house. It just seemed like the pitches were there. And, Bryce and even Castellanos didn't get on tonight, but he hit the ball well a couple times. He looks like he's making good contact. So that's one thing that I saw tonight that, was like, okay, Castellanos came around. He's still making good contact with the ball. Also, Bryce, opposite field double. I think that's big because, they've said in the broadcast, and it is a true fact, that when a guy starts hitting the ball opposite way, it means they're hitting their stride. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries, coming back. And now it finally looks like he's in the right place at the right time at the plate. So still rebooting his computer. So we will just wait and see and go on. But yeah, and we were talking about before, but Cease 100% would love to bench Hoskins, but it's not happening. It's not happening. Looking forward to talking about Eagles, talking our 3-packs, our 5-0 Eagles. Definitely excited to be, we'll break down. I didn't get to see the game. I was tracking on my phone, flying back from the West Coast. But the great thing was before my trip up, I think we're getting Dave back on the line. So now we wait.
Yeah. My computer restarted. It just decided. I guess I had an automatic update scheduled.
Yeah. It was just like,
yeah.
and
I need an automatic restart with Reese Hoskins. So where were you at, brother?
I went on a diatribe about a bunch of things. I just kind of did a quick recap of how we got to where we are with the, St. Louis games and stuff like that. So,
all right, then I ask you this.
Yeah.
Do they win this series or not?
It's tough. I'm so in the air. Obviously, they win this tonight, and I'm saying that they do. They're the defending champs for a reason. I really can't say. I can't with full confidence say that we'll win it because it's been inconsistent.
So is that a no for you, dog?
I don't know. I can't. If I say no, I'm just saying it. But it's just like
We're here to give a prediction.
No, I think they pull it out. I think you're going to get a good game from Nola on Friday. And I think they're going to go up 2-1. And then they have 2 games to play with.
See, I'm with you. Here it is. The energy in that ballpark, you've been there before, playoff games.
Sure.
There's nothing like it. They will take – you get just one lead. You get Nola cooking in that first inning, go 1, 2, 3, and you get that lead early. It is just going to zap everything out of the Braves. And then you go into game 4, and they got all the pressure. They're the defending champs. They're the favorite. They're the 101-win team. And I just think the Phillies can do it. I think they took care of what they needed to do. And now here we are in an exact position. I mean, everybody would love to be up 2-0, but it's fine being up, being 1-1, having both games, not letting this get back to Atlanta. I think that's exactly what happens. I'm pumped. I think, get a little down from tonight, but this team has showed resiliency all season. When we thought they were dead, they went 4 out of 5 in Washington, or 3 out of 4 at the end of the year. Then at the last minute, the Houston series, you're like, this is too close. They're only up a half game. We just got to win 1. And Nola pitches almost a perfect game. And, obviously they take him out if they let up the 1 hit, but he was on fire. Every single time we've had a little adversity, they've come back. And I'm going to count on them this one. Rob will have an answer. I think you're going to see a little adjustment to the lineup. I'm with you, probably not at the top, but he'll have something. I'm not sure where. I still think it's JT 3, Harper 4. I could see him flipping them and going Harper 3. I could see that.
Bryce has always been comfortable in that 3 hole. Maybe that's where they, it's a slight change.
Yep.
One thing I was saying that I'm happy to see about, it's not about changing the lineup, but I've been happy to see is even tonight, even though Castellanos didn't get on base, he's making good contact.
Oh, that was good contact.
He had two balls that went off his bat quick.
To center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see. So hopefully he can stay in that zone. I think at home, he gets a big hit. I think it does wonders for this team. I think he's kind of an X factor for us. He was the other day, obviously, but I think he's an X factor. I think it completely erases the season that he had if he comes up big again on Friday.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then if we do, listen, I gave you, a peek of what Falter looks like. Not great against the Braves, but Morton goes Friday.
Yeah.
0-1 with a 5.47 ERA against the Phillies in 5 starts. He's allowed 31 hits in 26 innings, combined with 11 walks. I mean, they almost have like a 1.5 whip against him. So I like their chances on Friday, and that's where we get them really on the ropes on Saturday. So good stuff. Let's move on to football. I didn't get a chance to do the show last week. Obviously, you talked about it earlier, Mark. We're both kind of here or there, but I did a couple others where I predicted the Eagles would struggle to cover that game, but come away with a late victory. The script was there. It was just to me, that was, look, we never do well in the desert. That's one, right?
Right.
And then for two, you got Dallas on the horizon.
Mhm.
You
It
hate
had
to say
trap game written all over it.
it did. It did. And if you look at our preseason projections, we were both 4-0 going in that game. Both had a loss.
Yeah.
So coming out with a win, it's some gravy on the turkey. I'm good with it. I got no issues. I mean, we can pick at some little things, right? But coming out there with a victory, my most important thing that came out of this game was get the ball back with 9. It was around 9-ish minutes left, and give it to them with less than 2, or right around 2, with no timeouts. You drained the clock and you went down and kicked what was the game-winning field goal. That's what winning teams do.
Yeah.
They just manhandle them. They didn't make a great call. I'm not in love with throwing to Quez Watkins on third down when AJ Brown flashing right underneath. But in the end, to me, it's a good win. You beat a playoff team from last year, and you did it, with some pressure on you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. It's a good win. And I think, honestly, the fact that they didn't kill him might be good for them going into this week. I think they're hungrier this week. And even Jalen knows this. He hasn't beaten the Cowboys. And, that's going to be a hurdle for him. I think he gets a Cowboys win in his belt, especially, early in the season when they're 5-0. And, the chips are going to be against them. It's a really good defense. It looks like Cooper Rush is going to play, but if he goes out there and proves and beats Dallas, even though Dallas isn't the best team, obviously they have a good record right now, but what it does for his psyche and his confidence and beating his team, that's like his team growing up, Dallas, I believe, it does a lot going forward. And, it's always hit or miss with where we are with the Cowboys. Either we're good, they're bad, we're good, or I pretty much just said the same thing both ways. But this is a chance where there's 2 good records going into this game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both at the same spot. Now, I think the fact that Cooper Rush is playing definitely bodes in our favor at home on a Sunday night game. Our defense has to get after it. Defense absolutely has to get after it. But I think this is a game where Hurts can really prove his worth.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a fun one for sure. And getting out of Arizona with victory and getting to 5-0 on Sunday Night Football, I think was, part of the equation to the victory last week. Defense, a couple bad drives there, but for the most part, okay. I don't think they created enough pressure on Kyler Murray. I don't think Gannon had a pretty bad game, to be honest with you. But when you still let up only 17 points in the NFL, it ends up being okay.
It's not that terrible of a game, yeah.
Yeah, but it took, the idiot sliding before the down marker, third, and then a kicker making it for that all to come fruition. But that's what happens to good teams. I remember so many years where I'm like, kickers are 100% against us. They'll hit them. I forget the guy's name. It wasn't Matt Gay. Was it one dude from Tampa hit a 61-yarder?
Oh, yeah.
Not Lindell, was it?
No.
It'll come to you, but
yeah,
it just felt like you could line up a kicker from the other end zone and it was going to go.
Yeah.
And now we get one that goes wide right, and we're cheering like bandits. And so we come into the Dallas game Sunday night, and I'm actually probably this. I don't know if this is where you are. You're saying it's better that Rush is starting. For me, I actually think the Dallas Cowboys are a better team with Cooper Rush. Now, that's not true probably for the long term. They can't win a Super Bowl with Cooper Rush. And over time, Dak Prescott, but they just tend to get too pass heavy. He takes a little time in the pocket. I think they're just a little more efficient. They play different style game with Rush. So I think we're going to see one of those, grind them type of games where we're going to have to bring our A game. And I think we got to win this on the defensive side. That's really where I think Dallas is going to bring their A game defensively, and they're going to throw some curveballs at us. And the O-line concerns me a little bit. Mailata might be out again.
Right.
Dickerson had that tweak, Driscoll, but
Kelsey came back in, and
yeah. But that's why I think we'll move the ball. We'll be okay there.
Just have to figure out how we're going to do it. I don't think we're going to be able to run the ball.
Yeah. Yep. Well, if we are, it's not going to be with the success rate that we've had in the first 5 weeks. Yeah, I agree with that. We'll have some pops here or there, but that's it.
I mean, they're going to have to find a way to, reduce the pressure that Micah Parsons brings. They're going to have to find a way to chip him. That's going to be big because he causes havoc.
Yep.
DeMarcus Lawrence, he's still a good player. Their defense has been very good this year. They won on defense and running the ball, really, with Cooper Rush at quarterback. That's what they've done. That's why you're saying they've been efficient. Like when they have Dak in there, they feel like they need to throw the ball.
Yes. Yep.
They feel like they have to. He's, X amount of dollar quarterback. Like that's,
I agree. And I think Dak is healthy enough to play, but they're not going to say that this week. I think they got to see how far Cooper can kind of push them. And then they'll, if they lose this week, they'll be fine putting Dak right back in, right? They win. Woo. I don't know what they're going to do, but let's not get into that scenario. Let's look at really the keys to the game for me. The keys to the game will be this, and it's going to be defensive line pressure. I don't think we had enough last week against Murray. I forget, but I thought it was like 1 sack or 2. Like it wasn't enough for me. And I think we're going to have to – this kid gets the ball out of his hands quick, and that's what's made him efficient and effective in a lot of these games. But if we can get that pressure without, having to bring anybody extra, I think we shut down the run game. So that's one. Defensive line pressure. I really want to see it without the extra rusher.
Yeah.
And then 2 for me will be the Jalen Hurts maturation. Like, and you said it earlier, it's key for him. It's a huge game for him. Can he step up versus a team like this? Look, they're not great on the backside. Like I know Diggs is, a gambler and he's playing
a gambler, exactly. He's not technically sound cornerback. Yeah.
No, and their linebacker's not great either.
Right.
It's that front 4 to 5. If he can find some space and just a little time and exploit that, get AJ more involved. What do you got? 3 catches in the first quarter last week and none after that. It was something like that. We got to get that rolling. So it hurts the defensive line. We get that solid, solidified, and we play the game that we've been playing the first 5 weeks. We're going to be okay.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I don't think the run is going to be established. I think this might be a game where Jalen Hurts has to improvise a little more. I think you can see him roll out. As long as, Parsons, I don't think they would do this, but if Parsons were to spy on him, but if they spy on him, then that's good because you take him out of it because I think Hurts is sound enough to know like what position to get into and what not.
Right. So let me ask you this. Was it like just me, but Slay played 10 yards off Hollywood Brown all last week.
Now, I didn't get to see the game in full because I was flying. So
it was all week. Every play, he's a mile off. He didn't play that way versus Jefferson.
Right, because that's why I'm wondering if he's overcompensating for his back.
Or that was the game plan, right? And I guess that's overcompensation.
I'm just saying maybe that's just my initial guess is, he's feeling a little pain. And I think like if he plays press and gets beat, then he's dead in the rights.
But, obviously they're going to have the game tape from last week and they're going to see that. That's going to be CD. So I'm hoping we just see a little bit more closer coverage and rely on some help.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're not, like you said, one of your keys is the front 4 getting there, pull the linebackers back, play some help coverage. That's going to be what they're going to have to do. Yeah. That's how you alleviate that. And that's how you let Slay play. Instead of playing 10 yards off, he's playing 5 yards off. He's playing close. He's playing some press, some man, hopefully that's the case. I think that's the best scenario. So, but like you said, it all goes down to the defensive line. Does Hassan Reddick get there? I mean, that's going to be this could be a big game for him.
Yeah, we did have 1 sack last game. It was Reddick. That's it, though. 1, and that like when we tore up Wentz, right? That was huge, and we gave Trevor Lawrence all that pressure. We created 4 fumbles, right? So that we got to get back to that because that was that's probably why Arizona hung around a little longer. We went up 14-0. To let them get back to 17-17, not great, but to close it out, great. So, all right, I ask you this: big game Sunday Night Football, biggest game. I know people are going to say Bills Chiefs, but right there, biggest game of the weekend. Who you got?
I got the Eagles. The number I think right now is 6.
Yep.
That all came with Cooper Rush coming in. I'm around that number. Honestly, I think like a 5 to 7 point win for this team. I think they take care of business. I think they get up for it. I think they do get 2 or 3 sacks. And I think they just cause a lot. I think it's going to be a lot of hurries. Hopefully they get Cooper Rush off of his mark. I think AJ Brown should have a big game here because even, you put Trayvon Diggs on him, he's going to outman him.
Yep.
This is where AJ Brown can excel. So I like the Eagles here. It's going to be a tough one, but like I said, I think they pull away towards the end. I like them 28-21.
Nice. Big game going into Sunday Night Football. That would be fun. 28-21 would be. Here's where I'm at. We had a game against Minnesota early in the year, primetime night football, just waxed them. 24-8, I think, was the final score, but it was 24-0 before they even knew it. Then even the Jacksonville game, get down 14-0, a little sluggish, and then go out and just, again, I think score 29 straight points there, like they had 24 straight against Minnesota. So 2 home games, one with some margin here. The crowd is definitely going to be a factor. It looks like the weather's going to be good. I think the Eagles are going to be up for this one more than they have been in so many other years. They got swept by the Cowboys last year. I don't see that happening again. This decides NFC East that early in the season. We're looking at October 15th or 16th, whatever it is that night. I think 16th. And you got a chance to be 2.5 games up with 10-11 to play. So I think they take advantage of this gift in this situation going into a bye week too, right? Yeah. I think that adds some motivation. I like the Eagles solidly in this one, 24-13. I think it is a defensive stylistic play, but I think they wreak havoc, and I just think they're good in the red zone, good enough to really flip the script on the Cowboys. I think Cooper Rush takes his first L of his career, and it's at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're playing very good football, and we're also catching some breaks right now.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
But I think they're taking advantage of the right things at the right time, and I think they've set themselves up to be in the position that they are.
Yeah, no, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
And good teams do what they have to do, and they didn't get a last place schedule. It just kind of came out with the way the teams are playing. But you look at it. I was trying to think to myself like how good or how bad of a schedule have they played? Like they got Jacksonville coming off of a big win against San Diego or LA.
Yeah,
they got a good Vikings team.
Vikings are 4-1.
Thanks, but Lions have scored before this week. They, I think, scored the most points in the league. So, they've played a couple, decent teams, and they've, held their own. So this is definitely, they get this win. It's sky's the limit. This town is going to take off if they get this win on Sunday night.
Yeah, they played what's in front of them, and they beat them all. But Arizona okay, Minnesota pretty good. Like you said, Detroit decent.
They score a lot of points.
Worst team they played was Washington, and they took care of that. I can't complain. It's been what we thought. Not a hard schedule, but also one that was winnable, and they took care of. So we'll see come Sunday Night Football. But all right, let's get into. We gave you the Eagle scores. Let's get into our 3-packs. Mark, we're looking pretty good. I know I announced. We missed last week. I did give out some here and there, but I'm not going to take credit for that. We're going to roll into this one with our. Truly where we're at. And I'm trying to pull back my stats from week 4. And I think it was a 3-0, 2-1 week, but I don't have them.
Yes, it was 3-0, 2-1. I can attest to that because I felt so good about our picks that I did the parlay, 6-game parlay, and I hit 5 of the 6 because I took the Rams +1 at San Francisco Monday night. So of course I had a full I had 21 hours to decide if I take the $201 or $203 cash out or if I let it ride. And I'm like, but I stayed true to my thought was, look, you've made it this far. You'll be pissed if the Rams cover. Just roll with it. Whatever happens, happens. You only bet $10. I could have won $466.
Yeah.
Comes a shove. The Rams throw up a clunker in San Fran. They are not who I thought they were, who we thought they were, so on and so forth. But yes, definitely a good week by us 2 weeks ago. So we're hoping that we can replicate this week.
Yeah, both above 500, well above 500 here and there. So
5-1, and I believe you have your numbers. You should be
9-3.
9-3.
3-2-1 weeks, 1-3-0. So let's go with it. I guess, only fairness, I'll lead off. I'll take the spotlight, having that sweep. And the first game I'm going to look at does reside in the NFC West. And it does reside with the team we just faced. And this gets a little tricky here, but what Arizona is they are a better team on the road. That is the truth. They have what was it, 8 or 9 straight losses at home? It's something ridiculous after the Eagles just beat them. And that's 2 to start the year. But I don't care. I'm still taking the Seahawks in this game. Seahawks is the home dog. I feel pretty good about the spot they're in. They're getting 2.5 now. I've seen up to 3. Rashad Penny going down hurts them a little bit, but Kenneth Walker showed you what he could be and what he will be eventually, breaking off a long run against the Saints. He's got a little questionable tag with him, but I feel confident he'll play. Everybody gets questionable tags on Wednesday. Geno Smith has been a revelation for them. He's been really, really good. And I just think in this point, I did like the Saints last week against the Seahawks. It was a weird number and didn't make sense, -5, and somehow they cover with that margin. Seahawks are good enough, especially when they fly back north to cover this game. Arizona is not as good as a 3-point loss to the Eagles. Think people might see that and be like, oh, Arizona's not bad, not bad. No, they're still bad. They're bad. So give me the Seattle Seahawks. As of now, plus the 2.5, but keep an eye on it. I'm not going to punch this in yet because I want to see it get to 3.
I love that pick. You know why I love that pick? Because I have the same pick, actually.
Good.
I thought we were doing our first shot pick of the season, but we did not.
The way I started, yeah.
The way you started talking about the Cardinals and coming off of that game and everything, but I completely agree. Seattle, look, I mean, I think if you're the fans, you knew that this season was not going to be obviously amazing. You have Geno Smith as quarterback, but they do have a passionate fan base there, and they probably are having fun watching Geno Smith play the way that he's been playing. So with that being said, I think that the fans are going to show up. I think they're going to be loud. I think they don't have a lot going on in Seattle. So this is something that's, near and dear to their heart. And, I think the Cardinals are not that good. So I completely agree with you. I like Seattle getting the points at home. That it's the 12th man is going to be there to see. And Kenneth Walker, the emergence of him could be big. So again, I was going to start off in a different way, but we have the same pick. So let's go Seahawks.
Let's go. All right. Let me go to pick 2 for me. I imagine this one will be a little different with all the games on the schedule. I'm going to go to a team that is flying back from over the pond, and that's the Green Bay Packers versus the New York Jets. Jets, really surprising story. Zach Wilson, since he's come in 2-0, last week they got to beat up on the Dolphins, pulled away late. Breece Hall looks like the man now. And the Jets are competitive in every single game, but they're not going to be this week. I read a stat earlier this week that the Green Bay Packers are 10-0 coming off Matt LaFleur, 10-0 under Matt LaFleur, coming off a loss straight up, also ATS. I see the 7 on the board. I think it's enough. Look, I'm not confident the Packers are any good, but I am confident enough that, close game against the Patriots and now a loss against the Giants really will wake up and focus that team. And I think they get a big W this week. I do have one concern, and that's the verbiage that comes out of that quarterback's mouth every single post game. This week, blaming somebody for saying, no, if we lose this next week, it's going to be bad. Where in the week before he says, we can't keep winning this way. He speaks out 2 sides of his mouth, but he's still good enough to whip around, beat the Jets with some margin. I'll take the Packers -7.
Again, you threw me a curveball for a second there. I thought you were going to say the Jets were going to take care of the Packers, but that's a good pick.
Yeah, all right.
So I'm going to go talking about, you brought up one of the teams that played the Packers recently, the New England Patriots. They are at the Cleveland Browns. Patriots +2.5 point underdogs at Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland's not that good. They're relying on Donovan Peoples-Jones and David Njoku, who I've picked up their stock in fantasy, but this is Bill Belichick. It's 2.5 points. I just don't think Cleveland is at this point, I don't think they're a worthy favorite at that point. And I know that the quarterback scenario in New England is hit or miss right now. Mac Jones is questionable, but like you said, everybody's questionable. But even if who is it? Zapke? Is that his last name?
Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, Zappi.
Yep.
Zappi. So I think either way, I think the Patriots keep it close and could even win this one outright.
All right. I like it. Interesting. Cleveland, like always Cleveland's. Last week, the Chargers gave them a gift, and then they still missed a field goal at the end of the game. They Cleveland against the Jets this year. This is a team, it could be like 5-0, 4-1, and they just find ways. They find ways. All right. I'm gonna wrap it up with my final one here. I was tempted to do it and go tomorrow night. Look, I heard a little stat out there that Wentz is 6-0 on Thursday night football. Pretty good, right? Too. But he sucks, so I'm not going to go there. And he's probably, crying in his diapers right now because Ron Rivera said the quarterback. But I will go with the Cincinnati Bengals minus the 2 in New Orleans. Look at it this way: Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase won a national championship with LSU, which is close to the Superdome in New Orleans. They definitely get a lot of, Tiger pride down there. They're going to love to see those guys come back. And, they got to be extra focused right now because they're slipping. They're slipping in the AFC North. And, the loss to Baltimore probably stung because Baltimore hasn't won the close games. And now they finally do against Cincinnati. I think there's some energy here and focus. Look, New Orleans, there's something wrong with them. Yeah, I get it that they came away, beat Seattle. That's with Taysom Hill, 3 rushing touchdowns. That's not happening against Cincinnati. I don't know if Jameis is playing, but I think it's even a better case if he does. I like Cincy in this one. I think they actually break out and score a lot of points. And I'll take the Bengals minus the 2 on the road.
Okay. So with my final pick, it's a big number. Panthers at the Rams. Rams favored -10, Panthers +10. The Rams have not been that good. They're coming off back-to-back losses. And I think they finally get a win. But this number is really big. And you're looking at the situation in Carolina. Matt Rule getting fired. PJ Walker at quarterback. The one thing is, and PJ Walker came out and said today, he's like, I'm going to make sure I'm going to get the ball into, my playmakers' hands, a.k.a. DJ Moore. Yeah. So, it's because he might be getting traded. And I think another player that we could see on the move is Brian Burns. So they're talking about Christian McCaffrey as well being another name that's out there. I mean, they're going to look into all those options because they're going to have to rebuild. They definitely have to rebuild this scenario. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do because they can make a couple teams rich. At the deadline, they probably could be the most active team if I had to guess. With that being said, I think they're going to play an emotional game. I think they're still going to lose, but I think they're going to fight hard because they, and it's a shame too, because I'm a, big Matt Rule fan, but I think he was straddled with terrible quarterback play and Baker being out this week, I think actually helps them because that's a scenario has just gone south. So you get PJ Walker. He's a player. He's a player that they're going to, the team is going to rally around. The Rams are much due for a win, but I think 10 is a lot with the way that they've been playing lately because there's been a lot of flaws that have been seen with them. So I like the Panthers here +10 at LA.
You threw me for a curve because I love the Panthers as well. I think that's a good pick. Listen, when you get a new coach in the middle of the season, in the middle of a week, it can go 2 ways. And yeah. I read something that the Panthers were playing hard for Rule. They were listening to him. They just needed a mix-up. They needed a new philosophy. So it wasn't that he lost the locker room. It had nothing to do with that. So it seems like a team that's still united, close-knit. And now that Baker's out, I think maybe, just maybe, that bodes well for them because I think I saw his QBR. It's the second lowest of all time in the first 5 starts since Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell. Yep, I saw it too.
He's been ass, like really bad. So
yeah.
I like that pick. And you know what else I like? And I got to bring this to you guys real fast. we have a sponsor out there, J&N Sports Break. You can find them on Facebook. And that 3-pack right there was brought to you by J&N Sports Break. Look, the sports card industry is booming, and now is the time to start collecting again. I know I've done it. I know a lot of my friends have. No matter the sport, the novelty, they got WWF cards now, UFC. It's been crazy. But this hobby is an all-time high. And that being said, JN Sports Breaks is a Facebook page where it comes full circle. Started by John and Nick. That's why you got the JN, two blue-collar guys from the tri-state area. This page creates a fan-friendly atmosphere while giving the collector what they want. Whether you're new to the hobby or seasoned collector, J&N Sports Break has a break for you. Make sure you're following today for all the free promos, games, and giveaways. As a bonus, mention this ad, receive $5 off your first break. All you got to say is 4th and Go, Heat Ratio Sports, either one. Get that $5 off. Go get in a break. Get a big card. You never know. Go get it graded. You could be in for some money. So thanks for them for supporting us and supporting the network. But Mark, man, I got 2 more things because I ruined 5 minutes here. So let's go 5 more. Flyers start tomorrow night.
Yep.
What's your – just tell me, in the broad view of things, where do the Flyers finish this year in the Eastern Conference?
I mean, in the bottom tier, bottom 3. This is, I know people are saying maybe they're going to, get it together and maybe they're going to shock people. I don't know about that because they couldn't do it when they had better options going. But what I think this year could be is an experimental year. I think we can figure out what we have. And I'll tell you this preseason prediction. They set themselves up right for next year.
Yes.
I think they'll answer questions that need to be answered. They'll start figuring out who's in, who's out.
I think, that's a fair assessment. So you have them in bottom 2, 3 teams probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so for me, I don't know. They I get the hype of the Tortorella. And I think, when you say he's, we're going to see what's in and out, I think that all goes with the head coach experiment, right? He's going to weigh on some people and he's going to weed out the bad ones, and he's going to be able to grow the good ones. And I hate to use the Sirianni analogy, but right. I mean, it's the truth. I really do believe his unique style of coaching, he's going to be able to get along with the players he sees that are, ready for the 23-24 season. And he's going to force the other ones to make a hard decision on whether they want to play hockey and earn the orange and black. And that's really what this season has to be about. It has to be more about playing the Flyers way. Now, I don't mean that from the Broad Street bully perspective because those days are long gone. But I mean being proud to wear this and giving us the effort that Philadelphia wants. Because I know Tortorella will. There's a couple, key players on the horizon. We're obviously looking forward to. Owen Tippett. We'll see if he can really, live up to the name. He came over in the Claude Giroux trade. I want to see, a better mix of lines. I want to see some, Tortorella prides himself on pressure. He can live with mistakes behind him as long as you're creating that forechecking pressure and creating turnovers to an extent. If you're going to create turnovers, you're obviously going to get beat behind once in a while. But that's why I got Carter Hart. And I think that's the ultimate answer. This may be a little bit homeristic. Obviously, it will be. But I think they fight for a wild card spot right up to the end of the season. I don't think they get there. I don't. I think, still got some cream of the crop. I think the Rangers are really good once again. Washington's always there. I'm not sure what Pittsburgh is right now. The Devils are an up-and-coming creative team. It's still Columbus. Columbus getting Johnny G. That's going to be tough, but I think they can fight. I think they can be right on that edge. I think they fade out maybe the last week or two, but I think they're enough to give out. I'll give them 86 to 88 points, which will be pretty. I think will be a good season for them.
That would be. I mean, that the one thing I was thinking in my head, they could surprise. They could surprise. Yeah. But that would be but what you've predicted is what would be the extent of the surprise. I don't think this team is magically going to be a top tier team. I don't think they're going to be competing for a division. Like you said, I think wild card is their ceiling. I
Yeah.
think is absolute ceiling. And I think falling short of it is their ceiling. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they can do. But like I said, I think this year is going to be setting us up for next year. That's in my grand scheme of things. That's where I think it ends up. I think we'll look back and we'll say, yeah, this season was tough to get through, but they know where they're going next year.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, they got some young talent. That some guys, Frost, like it's coming, right? And it's got to be put all together. And at the same time, like we got to get away from the like Ryan Ellis was a complete disaster. And we still got some questions of Couturier. I get it, but he's probably on the wrong side of the curve with his career right now and his injury status. So it's really got to be a little bit more about this year of finding who's the next wave of this Flyer resurgence. So I'm with you. I like that you said that early, and I think there are some guys that will stand out this year. So I'm excited to see that. But in the end, they're only going to be able to win games. I don't want to call it with trickery, but it's going to be out efforting people, and they're and that can happen. And having just a stone cold goalie back there, the teams have won like that. But optimistically, it's probably the best we can see is a fight for a wild card, a fight. I don't even think in the best of worlds, I'm not even sure we can get all the way to the wild card. And I'm a glass half full kind of guy. Yeah. So now we look. We will have a show obviously next week, but next week will be one day too late because the Sixers also tip off. Before we get back on the airwaves, they face who is it? Is it Boston?
Boston.
Yeah, next Tuesday, is it?
Next Tuesday.
Yeah. All right. I got to get this. We're one of the most red hot towns right now. The Eagles are on fire. Phillies doing this.
Yeah.
I would say this is the most anticipated season in Sixers history in a long, long time. Now, I know we were hype. Not as hype last year because that was like the Ben Simmons saga, but the year before that, we were all, drinking the Kool-Aid. I think this one might even be, kind of more feverish and a higher expectation. Yeah. And that year we ended up getting the 1 seed when we were that pumped up. So it's here that the Harden losing the 100 pounds, to bringing in all these extra bullets that can really give you some versatility, and not even versatility for game one. Like they're 10 to 11 deep. Yeah, it just helps you for the whole season now. So I'm pumped, man. I think the Sixers, honestly, I'll look the Vegas win total when we're at it. I think they're a 1-2 seed in the East.
They absolutely can be. And it's funny because I think to win the conference, it's like plus 700 right now for them to win the conference. That's something that you can, throw a couple of dollars on. You could really make some money if you do that, because I think they do have a chance. They are in that top three. I think they're right above Miami in the odds. Excuse me. But yeah, I think they're exciting. I think their defense is only going to get better. I think their defense got better. I saw a stat the other day that per attempt, 3 of the Sixers were in the top 5 of deflected balls. Matisse, obviously, B-Ball Paul, and D'Anthony Melton. So you got 3 defensive stalwarts right there. I like, from what we've seen in preseason so far from Montrezl Harrell, he looks like he's probably going to be the best backup that we've had behind Embiid. And I was, Dwight was okay. I thought Drummond was better. I think Harrell is a guy who got himself in a bad situation and, was able to, get a chance and wanted to come here. And I know Harden was working the phone to get him here. Will be a big burden off of Embiid's shoulders, knowing that they have a guy, because he put the ball on the ground. He's able to create his own shot for a center. Now, again, this is not Embiid work, but what he can do in that fill-in time, like he's not just, I'm going to go hang by the rim. Like he can do a bunch of different things. Harrell's got talent. Yes. He's shown it in the past. I think he's a former Sixth Man of the Year winner. So, he's somebody that comes in hungry. I think this is, their best chance. And I just love the roster that they put together. A lot of defense, a lot of tenacity, between Harrell, Tucker, Melton. They got a lot of dogs now, a lot of bite.
Yep.
Got to be able to. And, Matisse has been hitting shots in preseason.
Oh, yeah.
And they got him working. They got him working. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. Matisse can be huge for this going forward. Like right now, he's like your 8, 9, 10 guy. But if his offense actually did get better and he gets to go up there a little bit, I mean, it's
no, I'm with you. It was encouraging seeing him take those jumpers and actually like being on the move a little bit and being able to,
And they told him it's okay to miss. Just take those shots. Keep shooting.
Yeah.
You just gotta be willing to do it.
So they have a what is it? 50.5. They won 51 last year on what I thought was more of what they end up the 4 seed last year because they had the home advantage against Toronto 4-5. Year before that they blew away 15.5. So it just seems low to me, and seems like a number I love. It's just like the Eagles 9.5.
They don't have the Simmons distraction. They have a better lineup. Like there's no reason why they can't win, 53, 54, 56 games this year.
I agree. And the roster is deep enough. That's my key. It is deep enough to the extent that, they can have, an Embiid injury. And now they got Harrell. They can have, a tweak to Harden because, Maxey can take over. There's just so many little things this team can do now, and not have to worry about Korkmaz getting all these minutes.
Right.
So I really think they're good. And now, look, the scenario in Boston is ugly too. So let's knock them down a notch. Milwaukee, I think, is their biggest competition. I get the Nets. I do, but they're still like just put them on a 2-game, 3-game losing streak, and KD will probably try and strangle Kyrie. So I'm not saying I'm discounting them because I just don't think, and even with their age,
there's a lot of moving parts right there. There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I just don't think with their age that they can even stay together for all 82 games. So that just leaves. I mean, are we worried about Atlanta? Maybe, but not 1 or 2, right? Were you worried about Toronto? No, not maybe 1 or 2. So I think it's Sixers, Milwaukee up top, and that's where I'm going to be in the East. Now, I ask you this real fast: the West is like kind of silly. I see some predictions where the Golden State's not going to be as good. I don't get that. But then Draymond goes and punches Jordan Poole, and now I'm like, oh, well, maybe there's something there that I don't know about.
Going on. Something's in the water in the bay,
Yeah, and then I see that, I don't know. Phoenix seems to be, having their issues, obviously, with the owner having to sell the team and, them deciding to go away from Crowder. I don't really know what that West is right now. Do you?
I have no clue whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess if I had to take a team, I still lean towards Golden State. I do. Yeah. But I'm going to say watch out for Denver.
Well, I mean, they get Jamal Murray back. Right. Jokic. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. It definitely changes things for them. I think, they've kind of underachieved, but, they've dealt with injuries and stuff like that. They're a team to look at. But, yeah, I agree with you. I think, the Steph factor, if you have a healthy Clay, Jordan Poole's still going to be a player. I think, they have Kuminga. Like, they have weapons. Draymond's a weapon because his fist. If there's going to be some turmoil, but I think if anything, Steph Curry is a guy who can get them together. I think he is a good team leader.
He is. I'll still say watch out for Memphis. They're probably the most versatile team in the West. Like they just have a lot of parts. And watch out for New Orleans. Like people aren't going to talk about them much, but now with McCollum in the fold and getting Zion back,
he looks healthy.
Yeah, team made the playoffs last year and gave a little fight. So that's one team I say just keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, bud. That wraps up, a quick NBA preview, Sixers preview. I'm sure we'll give a little more next week as we assess and analyze their first game. We'll get it over the Eagles, Cowboys. Hopefully we'll still be talking Phillies baseball. Well, we'll be talking it, but hopefully we will still be talking with them advancing in the playoffs, as we both have now predicted here. And man, it's a fun time to be a Philly fan and enjoy it, everyone out there. It's been so long since we had these many teams playing this well, and it's fun. So until next week, Mark, we'll be back at it hard. We'll post our 3-packs. And thanks again to J&N Sports Break, Heat Ratio Sports, Dave Fleckner, Mark Tomasini, 4th and Go for a winning Wednesday.